Just goes to show you once more that when you put together these super teams, might be great on paper, might be phenomenal for fantasy league purposes, but so often these teams do not have the chemistry or the cohesiveness to translate into wins and, more importantly, covers from our perspective. And we saw that again yesterday with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Yes, I had a small 10-dime play on Cleveland and lost yesterday. Shawn Michaels, his second NBA play of the season, a 100-dime play on the Cavaliers. How do you lose at Miami and LeBron's return to South Beach to a Heat team that coughed up a 23-point lead in the second half to lowly Philadelphia just 2 nights earlier, allowing the Sixers to earn their 4th win of the season? Total embarrassment. But you see the flaws with this Cleveland team. Forget about team defense. Other than LeBron, I don't think anybody plays defense. You've seen the flaws that have been exposed in Kevin Love's game. Hey, it was easy to put up 28 and 14 every night for Minnesota because you had nothing to play for. But when you're asked to play defense, that's not Kevin Love's forte, guys. You see a Cleveland team that doesn't have anybody reliable at shooting guard, and you see a Cleveland team that can't play again team defense because the individuals aren't willing to put forth the effort on an individual basis defensively. So that was a sickening loss yesterday. But listen, it turned out well for other guys here at the site. Props going out to Anthony Red, who won yet again last night with the LA Clippers, taking care of business against Golden State Warriors. You know, in retrospect, and listen, I took a split yesterday with my free picks. I gave you an easy winner with the best of the 2 free picks. I told you the Bulls would hammer the Lakers, and geez, I wish I had bet on them, especially if I had only known, if my psychic abilities were there, and I would have known in advance that Kobe was going to be sitting out that damn game. And I warned you about the Spurs Thunder. But, you look at the Clippers game and you look at the Warriors right now and you look at Golden State's gaudy record and you realize they're doing it with nobody manning the pivot, with Bogut out. I mean, they don't have a center, and with David Lee still out, they just don't have any size. And I thought about that game yesterday. I thought, Clippers with Griffin and with Jordan, they really ought to be able to hammer them on the boards. Anyway, the Clippers won and Anthony Red won. But let's talk about some of the handicappers. There's 3 of them quickly in particular today that have huge, huge plays and winning records and long successful runs with those plays. First guy, Jeff Benton. Okay, Benton, all he has done in all sports since April has made $10 bettors $21,990. Today, second biggest play of his entire career, an 11-year charter member of this site, and it happens to be the 8th ever 200-dime college football lock of his career, of which he's won 5 out of 6 since September. And it's in your nighttime game. I think they're calling it the Bitcoin Bowl now, because all of us deal in Bitcoins, don't we? The St. Pete Bowl, I like to call it NC State against Central Florida. You've got in every single one of those plays that he has had since September at over half price off, nothing different today. Save $70 by using coupon code Jeff, his first name, Jeff. And listen, total transparency here again, okay? He has won 5 of those 6 200-dime plays since September. The only loser, guys, was the ACC championship game when he had Florida State. And you remember how Georgia Tech got that incredible backdoor cover, not quite as dramatic as Western Kentucky failing to cover because of Central Michigan getting the backdoor a couple of days ago. But Georgia Tech, a team that can't throw the ball, a team whose quarterback was awful all night against a poor Seminoles defense, a Georgia Tech team gets the ball back because Florida State can't get one single first down with a minute and a half to go in the game. And with 32 seconds left, they get the backdoor touchdown to get the cover. That's the only one he's lost. Hey, if that's the only one you lost after winning the first 5, can't have everything, but you can have number 6 out of 7 going today at $70 off using coupon code Jeff. Anthony Red, I mentioned to you that yesterday he won a 50-dime play on the Clippers. Today, winning day number 8 in a row and 11 out of 13 overall. He's 3-0 in the College Bowl so far, and today, a play that matches his biggest release so far. 75-dime winner number 2 in a row. It's your 4:30 Eastern time game, the Quick Lane Bowl game in Detroit. Rutgers and North Carolina had a 75-dime winner, remember, on Monday with Memphis getting the job done in double overtime against BYU. This is bigger than his 60-dime winner that you got on Rice over Fresno State on Wednesday night for just $22. Today, using the coupon code BOWL, B-O-W-L, you get his play, his 8th straight winning day, half price play of the day. Half price play of the day, Anthony Red, using coupon code BOWL. Over the past 7 days, those 7 straight winners, $10 bettors, have won $4,650. And finally, Gabriel DuPont going for 100 dime winner number 7 in a row today. His bowl game of the year. It's your early game at 1 o'clock Eastern time. Louisiana Tech and Illinois. Goes at 1 Eastern. You've got an all 6 of the previous 100 dime winners at huge discount prices of at least $75 savings. And today you save $80. Get it now. Gabriel DuPont. The coupon code is REPEAT. Repeat, REPEAT. $10 bettors have won a little over $4,600. And by the way, that's over the past month. And by the way, his last 200 dime plays in college football, that was on back-to-back days in the middle of December. Oregon in revenge against Arizona, hammering the Wildcats, and Baylor taking care of business against Kansas State on a Friday and Saturday night combo. So those are among your featured plays. You can get all the rest over on the homepage. In terms of free plays, I took a split yesterday, hit with my best free play. As I told you, I thought the Bulls would take care of business against the Lakers, a play that was made all the easier because of Kobe not playing. Told you that Thunder Spurs game was a weird game to handicap, and it could go and get you in the ass, and that's exactly what it did. But hey, still, 28-17 roll with the free plays over the past 2.5 weeks. Let's take a look at, first of all, the nighttime bowl game. And these bowl games today, guys, I got to be honest with you, they are very, very difficult because of certain things when you're looking and breaking it down in terms of the matchups. Like, for example, I'm taking a look at the Central Florida game. And Central Florida, 2.5-point favorite. And you know, Orlando and St. Pete, you're talking about 105 miles. You're talking about the way I drive at 70 minutes. I mean, you know, it's a short little hop, skip, and a jump to get down to see this game here tonight. So Orlando is certainly going to have the support of the fans here. But again, it comes down to an interesting matchup because Central Florida, regular season finale, remember, trailed East Carolina, pulled off the Hail Mary pass to get the dramatic, I think it was 32-30 win, and that allowed them to share the conference title, okay? NC State, on the other hand, their opponent tonight, they had a much more dramatic win. They go to Chapel Hill, take on a North Carolina team that was coming off consecutive wins against Pittsburgh at home and Duke on the road, and they hammer North Carolina, a team that puts points on the board nonstop, and we're going to talk about that game in just a minute that North Carolina is playing today. Beat the hell out of them in Chapel Hill 28-7. So you have a Central Florida team that has played well, has won its bowl game each of the last 2 years, is looking for a 4th straight bowl win under George O'Leary, but really almost laid a huge, huge egg against an East Carolina team that loves to throw the ball and is dynamic offensively. Okay? Now, granted, that game was in Greenville, North Carolina, and this game is at a neutral site, supposedly, in Florida, okay? But you look at the way this Central Florida team closed the season. Yes, they won 8 of their final 9 games. Yes, they covered 8 of their final 10 games. Their only loss in that stretch, that final 9 games, was a game at Connecticut, of all places, when their quarterback, Justin Holman, threw 4 interceptions in that game. But again, I look at this team and I'm going, well, who the hell did they beat? You know, their prior 5 wins before beating East Carolina in their season finale in the Hail Mary pass, South Florida, SMU, Temple, Tulane, and Tulsa. Not one bowl team there among that quintet. None of them really any good. I think the only team that had a winning record or a 500 record among them was Temple. And again, none of these teams are any good. I like the way NC State is playing here of late. I think that NC State's quarterback is going to present a real problem. Jacoby Brissett, I think that's how you pronounce his name, Brissett, who threw for over 2,300 yards, 22 touchdowns, also ran for nearly 500 yards. The North Carolina State defense also played much better the final 5 games of the season. They started really getting good pressure on their opponents, 16 sacks, 8 turnovers. You know, the ACC is not a great football conference. I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but I think it's better than the AAC, from which Central Florida hails from. And when I look at those final 5 games and NC State's defense turned up the pressure, they went 3-2 in those 5 games. Their only losses came against Georgia Tech and Louisville. That's acceptable. So I'd take a flyer at NC State plus the 2.5. And in that particular case, I'd go ahead and buy up the half point 2-3 in that game. Now, North Carolina is taking on Pittsburgh today. You know, this North Carolina defense ranked 115th in the nation, giving up 38.9 points a game. But of course, they've got an offense that is simply dynamic with a quarterback with Marquise Williams, who completed nearly 63% of his passes, threw for over 2,800 yards and 20 touchdowns, right? Also led the team in rushing. And this isn't a guy who just occasionally scrambled. This is a guy who ran the ball 178 times this season, 737 yards and 12 touchdowns. So he is a force to be reckoned with offensively. And it's a good thing because the Tar Heels can't stop paper tigers, okay? Now, Rutgers. You know, what can you say with Rutgers? I mean, you never know what you get in week to week because their quarterback, Gary Nova, is so inconsistent. Even the final regular season finale, you see that they won at Maryland, right? And it was, you would think, a barn burner game. They were a 7.5 point underdog, and they won it 41-38. They were down by 25 points in that game. Now, North Carolina has the potential to put points on the board here. Pittsburgh does as well. Which of these two teams that can't play any defense, have the edge? Well, before I compared the ACC versus the AAC in the first game we talked about. Okay, here now we're talking about Rutgers team in its debut season in the Big Ten against another ACC team. Boy, I'll tell you, I look at Rutgers. I mean, yeah, they got crushed by Wisconsin, crushed by Michigan State, crushed by Nebraska. They should have been crushed by all three of them. But, they beat the lower lifes. They beat the cupcakes. Indiana, Tulane. They beat Michigan. Michigan's a cupcake this year. That's how it goes, okay? They won in Seattle against Washington State in another high-scoring game to start the season, 41-38. I just have a feeling Rutgers is the play here. I like the way that once they lost their top running back earlier in the season, they really struggled for a while, but then they had two very good freshmen really emerge in the season's final 4 games. And that's made Nova all the more dangerous because now suddenly they have a ground game. So I'm going to probably go with Rutgers in that game. Of the 2 games, NC State at night, Rutgers here, I'll tell you, they both are lousy games. But that's it. I mean, I handicapped them all. Don't ask me my opinion on the Illinois-Louisiana Tech. Couldn't tell you a thing about either team. Didn't follow either team all season long. Not about to venture an opinion on it now. In the NBA, I looked at the one game between Portland and Philadelphia. Portland's laying a 14.5 point number in this particular game. They return after a 3-1 road trip, with the only loss coming at Houston when LaMarcus Aldridge did not play. LaMarcus Aldridge has absolutely owned Philadelphia's last 4 games against them, 28.5 points, 13.8 rebounds. Yes, Philadelphia has won 2 straight games, beating Orlando and Miami both on the road. Seriously? I mean, do we really think that streak is going to continue? The problem when you're looking at these big numbers when Philadelphia is your opponent, and especially when you're hosting Philadelphia, is, listen, these are human beings. These are basketball players. They can be counted to do the same things that we would, and that would be to overlook the opponent and perhaps realize, hey, we're going to get a win no matter what we do tonight. And that's what makes laying the big numbers against Philadelphia such a dangerous and precarious situation. Plus, when you have a team like Portland that has very little depth, it doesn't matter that the 76ers may only have 8 or 9 healthy players available for this game. And with Lopez being out of late for Portland, has me concerned. So anyway, I handicapped the game. I thought about going with Portland, but I think the best way is to stay away from it. Although, truth be told, I think it's just going to be like Chicago against the Lakers last night. I think Portland's probably going to win this one by 20 to 24 points. So there you go. Okay, that'll do it, guys. Best of luck to you all. Busy Saturday ahead of us and Sunday as well for the final weekend of the NFL. And I'll catch you again tomorrow morning when we do this one more time.